my life. I crown thee now. Thine shall the glory be. Lest I forget thy thorn crowned brow. Lead me, Jesus, to Calvary. Lest I forget how you prayed on Gethsemane in the garden. And lest I forget how you suffered your agony on Calvary.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is an excellent day to serve an excellent God in and with the spirit of excellence. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good midnight, whatever your case may be. If you are here, if you are able to hear me at any time, then your testimony is that millions didn't make it. But you are one of the ones who did. It wasn't because you were good, kind. It wasn't because you did everything right. It is surely and purely only because of the grace and the mercy of God. And so this day, I simply want to say good morning. Good morning on this 18th day of Lent. This 18th day of our 40-day Lent journey as we are headed toward the cross. I am Coach Sherry, Chaplain Sherry. I am your community pastor, Sherry. I am soon to be Dr. Sherry. I simply don't want to be a hey doc. I want to be an earned doctor. Now, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it. I don't want you to call me hey doc just for like we do sometimes with the fellas. We just, doc, hey doc. No. Most of the times, ain't no doctor degree, no kind of way. But when you use the title, Dr. Sherry, please know that I have blood, sweat, and tears, that I have done the work. Good morning. Good morning, Joyce. So glad to see you this morning. If you have found this space, if you find value in this space, would you please like, share, tag somebody in your clique, your crew, your circle? And we all pastor somebody. We all have influence over somebody. And so if you find value in this space, well, where you may see me applying makeup, don't be fooled by that, what she's doing with that makeup, because this has nothing to do with makeup, tools, tips, or techniques. Tell them, come on in. Don't be scared. She's just doing what she's doing while she is doing it. So good morning when you have come into this space, and especially live, go ahead on and greet me. Say good morning so that I can know that you are here. I want to acknowledge your presence. Listen, the day is the 18th day of our Lenten journey. Today we are fasting from appearances. We are fasting from appearances. We are fasting from play acting. We are fasting from being hypocrites. We are fasting from being hypocrites. We are fasting from play acting. We are fasting from looking the part, but not doing the part. We are fasting from appearances. We are decreasing in us showing up and looking the part. We are decreasing in that. We don't want to just look the part. We want to be the part. We want to be the part. We are fasting from appearances. Jesus had a whole lot to say about appearances. You know, along the journey, he cursed the fig tree for not doing the work of a fig tree. It's not often that Jesus cursed something. Good morning, Donna. So glad to see you this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Darissa. Little sister pastor, good morning. So glad to see y'all today. We are fasting from appearances. We not only want to look the part, we want to actually live the part. So as Jesus is moving along his journey, going to the cross, especially in Matthew 23, I love this text, and I know that I've probably talked about it many times. Matthew 23, and also in Matthew 15. In Matthew 15, Jesus actually quotes Isaiah 13, when he says, you hypocrites, you play actors. You honor me with your lips, but your heart is far from me. You worship me in vain. Your teachings are merely human rules. If you go to Matthew, and I got to be able to pick y'all. Tell me when y'all see me talking too much and not applying this makeup. I need y'all to come and say, Sherry, you need to be about your business. You need to be getting dressed. Because see, I'll get caught up in this text. I love this text in Matthew 23, where Jesus tells them, these religious experts of the law, where Jesus tells them, look, you sit in Moses' seat. Go to Matthew 23. You sit in Moses' seat. You got the law down pat. You are an expert of the law. Jesus did not take away their expertise. He said, you sit in Moses' law. You are well able in the law. You are well able in the scriptures. But here's what you do. You use the law. You use the scriptures to tie heavy yokes on the people. You tell them what they can and they cannot do, but you are not willing to do those things yourself. In fact, you can't do it. Jesus goes on in Matthew 23, and he really has some choice words for them. He calls them hypocrites. He calls them, good morning, Felicia, play actors. So a hypocrite it comes from this word that means actor. It means actor because at that time, like, they didn't have many actors or actresses to play different parts. No, one person could play many parts. Think about Eddie Murphy in Coming to America, or The Nutty Professor, or even a Tyler Perry movie where one person plays many parts. That's what Jesus is telling them. You're playing too many parts. You're playing a part of one who knows the law, but then you over here, you're not doing the law. So you are playing too many parts. You either are or you're not. Good morning, Joyce Darden. Good morning. Glad to see you this morning. So Jesus, he has some choice words against him. He condemns that kind of thing. Today we are fasting. We are fasting from looking like. We are fasting from looking like and not doing like. Jesus had some short, he didn't often curse things, but he says in the King James Version, woe. When the word woe is used, it's not a good thing. In the Common English Bible, he says, how terrible it will be for you legal experts and Pharisees, hypocrites. You shut people out of the kingdom of heaven. You don't enter yourselves, and you won't allow those who want to enter to do so. How terrible it is. Hypocrites. You travel over sea and land to make one convert, but when they've been converted, they become twice the child of hell you are. How terrible you are. For you are blind guides who say, if people swear by the temple, it's nothing. But if people swear by the gold in the temple, they are obligated to do what Jesus said, you're giving these people the law. You're putting these heavy yokes upon people, and you're telling people what they should do and what they shouldn't do. You cross the sea, you travel all kind of way to get one convert, but then when you bring them in, you put them in shackles. That doesn't make sense. As my grandpa said, the ends are not meeting. He says, how terrible it is. I'm in 23 and 23. You're hypocrites. You give to God a tenth of your mint, dill, cumin, but you forget about the more important matters. You giving your tithes. You giving your talents. You giving your treasure. You showing up every time the pastor asks you to show up. You teaching Sunday school. You preaching. You doing all of these things with your mouth. But yet you miss what's important to me. Look at your Bible. I don't care what version you have. Look at your own Bible. Oh, you can do it. You can do church like none other. Anytime they ask you to do something, you do it. In fact, you're doing it before you ask. You just happy in Jesus with your lips. Oh, y'all quiet this morning. I told you I love this text. I love this text for my own self. You love to talk about it, but you ain't, but your being about it is off. Jesus tells these religious folk, in our day, these church folk, he tells them, you don't have a problem giving your money. You don't have a problem tithing, but you forget about the more important matters of the law. Justice, peace, and faith. He says, listen, I want you to give your tithes. I want you to do that. You're right in that. But when you just do that, it's just lip service. Until you deal with what's more important, until you invest in what matters to me, Jesus says, is justice, peace, and faith. You ought to give a tenth. But don't forget those important matters. You blind guides, you filter out an ant, but swallow a camel. How terrible it would be for you, legal experts and Pharisees, hypocrites. You clean out the outside. Oh, y'all know about fine china. Down here in the South, we had china cabinets, right? We had these nice big pieces of furniture, really display storage, right? What all the fine china was that you couldn't touch. It was just to look at. I told y'all to keep me moving. I told y'all to keep me moving. Don't let me get caught up. We had these fine china cabinets, baby. My grandmother, my mom had these monstrosity pieces of furniture. And they were strictly designed to show off the fine china. We couldn't touch the china. We couldn't eat out it. It was only for special guests. Couldn't understand it. But you order china to just show off. Jesus says, when you're a hypocrite, when you are majoring in the minor and minoring in the major, you spend a whole lot of time making sure that the fine china is clean on the outside. You polish, you silver, you do all of those things. But guess what? It's filthy on the inside. It's filthy on the inside. And he gives all these examples. 29, how terrible it will be for you legal experts and Pharisees, hypocrites. You build tombs for the prophets and you decorate the graves of the righteous. Whitewashed tombs, all on the outside. Beautiful, gold, however it's decorated. But on the inside, it's dirt, death, and decay. I don't care how you clean it up on the outside. Jesus says, when we do not practice what we preach, when we put heavy yokes on other people that we are not willing to follow ourselves, when we give all of our money and they called our name and said, Dr. Sherry contributed $10,000. Jesus says it's hypocritical for you to give to tithe. Now you should be tithing, he said, but it's a beautiful thing when you give and you also are majoring in the weightier matters of justice, peace, and faith. My friends, Jesus, once again, I keep telling us, if you don't hear anything else from Pastor Sherry, I need you to always remember the way we treat the least, the last, and the lost, the way we treat people, the way we are all about making sure that all of God's people, all of God's children are able to flourish. We are really missing the mark. Listen, I got to get out of here because it's obviously I can't put this makeup on and talk to y'all at the same time. On this 18th day of Lent, as we are making our way to the cross, see, it's this kind of talking that got Jesus to the cross. It's this kind of talking that got Jesus to the cross. It's when Jesus started calling people out, there is a cost of calling out systems and practices that seek to keep people bound. Ask me how I know. There is a cost. People will try to assassinate you, not so much physically. They'll blackball you. They'll say that you are a troublemaker. They don't want you in their presence because you are trying to call out a system or a practice that is benefiting them. When you say that you are a follower of Jesus, not no Christian, a follower of Jesus, because I'll talk about that Christian. And how do you know that you're a disciple? Because you have love for God's people. And when you have love for God's people, you want to make sure that they are treated justly. Oh, Lord, have mercy. I got to go. I can't even find the eyeshadow color I want. Listen, I'm going to show y'all later in the comments when I finally get this look together, because this obviously I can't do two things at one time, because if it's anything that messes with me, is how we say that we are about liberating all of God's people. And yet, we do all we can to keep them in bondage. On this 18th day of Lent, we are fasting from appearances. We are fasting from being hypocritical. We are fasting from simply talking the part and not living the part. Y'all be blessed and may all be well.